Okay, yesterday we learned about the various, not all the dinim, a very brief amount of Tkiyah Shofar. Okay, so after Tkiyah Shofar, there's a custom in Chabad that after all the 100 kolas, we blow another 30. And that's all, like it says, the reason is to mix up the satan, or for those people that didn't hear the first 30, they can go listen to the last 30 after Musaf and they can fulfill their obligation. Okay, then you have Kiddush during the day. Again, we dip the challah into honey. Okay, now you have the first day, there's a minhag of going what's called tashlich. Now, this is based on the pasuk, v'sashlich v'msulas yom kol chateisam, that they will throw into the depth of the sea all their sins. But the misconception is, we don't, when we go to tashlich, we don't throw our sins to the fish. We just don't. That's not what it happens. We go to a well because the fish multiply a lot, because they're concealed from the eye. And the Gemara says, Ein bracha sheira ela davar hasamu mino ayin. A bracha is effective when there's no ayin haras, there's no, when things are hidden from the eyes. So that we should multiply like fish, have a lot of merits like fish, and so on and so forth. Now, ideally, you go to tashlich after mincha. If it's going to be, you're supposed to do it before shkia though. So if it's going to be late, then it says in halacha you go before shkia, before mincha. Now, it's interesting, in halacha it doesn't differentiate, it's not relevant to this here. But let's say Rosh Hashanah, like last year was Shabbos. So in Shulchan Aruch it doesn't say that you don't go to Tashlich on Shabbos. It doesn't say it. But Lepel, we know the minhag all over the world is that when Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbos, you do Tashlich the second day, not the first day. But in halacha it doesn't say that. The reason for that is as follows. We cannot make up our own decrees, maybe something is going to happen. The Chacham said you don't blow shofar on Shabbos because what's called Gzeira de Rabba. Rabba made a Gzeira that you might come to carry. But there's a din that when Chachamim, the Poskim, the great Rabbonim saw that people were doing things wrong, then they stopped certain things. Tashlich, people used to go out, usually the rivers were like outside the boundary of the city. So there was an issue with carrying on Shabbos outside the city. Then there was an issue with Chum Shabbos going above and beyond. So therefore, because they saw that people were desecrating Shabbos unintentionally, but they were still desecrating Shabbos to do the tashlich, so therefore, when Rosh Hashanah falls out, Shabbos and Sunday, we go on Sunday. Some people go Aser Simei Tshuva. Some people go the day before Erev Yom Kippur. It's called the day of Gotsnam or whatever. Not that. It's Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim. So, bottom line is, in Chabad the custom, we go the first day of Rosh Hashanah. If not, you go during Aser Simei Tshuva. Another thing is, the rest of the day, the first day of Rosh Hashanah, you're supposed to spend time saying Tillim, primarily more than learning. You have to learn the regular things you learn, but you're supposed to spend as much time as learning. It says in Shulchan Aruch, you shouldn't sleep during the day of Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because if you sleep, you have a sleepy mazel. That year you'll have a sleepy... Yeah. What? Yeah.
Or restful.
Huh?
Or restful.
What do you mean restful?
Restful.
That's not what it says in Shulchan Aruch. In Shulchan Aruch it says you're going to have a sleepy mazel. But in Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe brings down that some people had a minhag to sleep after midday on Rosh Hashanah. By the way, the one that did that was the Arizal. So the Poskim, even though the Alter Rebbe doesn't say that, but the Poskim write that halavai we should do when we're up a millionth of what the Arizal did when he slept. There's a story that Arizal once went to sleep on a Shabbos afternoon for half an hour. It's brought down from Tamir Arizal. What? No. The Arizal once went to sleep Shabbos afternoon for half an hour, and he saw in that half an hour up there enough Torah to talk 80 years. We don't have that issue. So, again, whatever, we should try to utilize the time as much as possible to do. Another very important thing is, on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, you're not allowed to do any preparation for the second day. So let's say the second day, I think Lichpeshin is 7:19. because the first day is 6/19. So you're not allowed to do any preparation whatsoever from the first day of Yom Tov to the second day. You can't set the table, you can't wash the dishes, you can't do anything that's being done for the preparation for the second day. Now when it comes to the second night, this is a din as follows. The second night of Yom Tov, okay, normally in Chutz La'aretz when we have 2 days Yom Tov, so we say Shechianu on both days. Rosh Hashanah is different, without getting into the extended reason why, but the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are called Yema Arichta, one long day, in relevance to many halachos. So the question is now, do you make a Shechianu the second night? If it's a second day, then you make a Shechianu. But if it's one long day, you don't make a Shechianu in the middle of a day. So the question is, do you make a Shechianu the second night both by candle lighting and by Kiddush? Do you make a Shechianu again? So the halacha is that you do. Okay? But, because it's questionable in halacha if you make a Shechianu or not, so then the custom is that when a woman benches licht and when the man makes Kiddush, they have a new fruit in front of them. When the woman, either a new garment or a new fruit. So let's say the woman lights Yom Tov candles the second night. She cannot light early. She has to light, let's say in LA, after 7:19 from a pre-existing flame. But she has a new fruit in front of her by the candles. She has a new fruit. And when she says Shechianu on the candle lighting, she has in mind that it also goes on the new fruit. So then you solve any issues with making a bracha for no reason.
Is that what we do for shofar too? On the same 2 days?
Second day, the guy that makes the brachas and the shofar wears a new garment. Yeah, because again, it's the same question. The same thing when the man, what?
If it's Yom HaRosh, then why earlier were you talking about the idea you can't do anything on the first day to prepare?
Because like I said, you make a shechianu, it's 2 separate days. Concerning certain halachas, there's a lot of halachos that relevant. It's Yom Arichta, it's one long day. It stems all the way from the time of the Bais Din. So therefore, when the man makes Kiddush, so he also has a new fruit in front of him when he makes the Kiddush. So he makes the Rosh Hashanah Kiddush, he benches licht like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Tov, and so you make a shechianu, you look at the new fruit you have in mind. So now when do we eat the shechianu? So the custom is, because we made shechianu by Kiddush, if you're going to go on the fruit and you're going to go wash, so you're making a break between the shechianu and the eating of the fruit. So therefore, it says in halacha, what do? You eat the new fruit right after Kiddush, before you go wash for hametzi. Let's say it's a 8, you don't make a shechianu again because you made it. You eat the new fruit, you make a very pure 8, and that's it. So now the question is, how much of the fruit do you eat? What's the question? If you eat a kazayas, then you have to make an after bracha. Because benching is not going to cover what you eat before the meal. So therefore, let's say you're using figs, that's for argument's sake. So when you finish eating the figs, if you eat a kazayas, so then you have to make an after bracha before you wash. If you don't eat a kazayas, then you don't have to make an after bracha. So there are different customs people have. Our custom in Chabad is that we do eat a kazayas of the fruit, and we make an after bracha also, before washing for hametzi. But that's the reason why we have a shechianu both by candle lighting and by Kiddush.
That's for the new fruit.
For the new fruit, yeah.
Not
No, we only do the apple and the pomegranates and all that stuff, we only do the first night. Most poskim say you only do it the first night, you don't do it the second night.
And that's after the washing.
Apple the first night, yes, after washing. Okay, now, normally, the day after Rosh Hashanah is what's called Same Gedalia. Gedalia ben Achika was a leader of Jewish people. When he was killed, questionable who killed him, but when he was killed, a lot of tzaras started for the Yid. So therefore it became...
When did he live?
What?
When did he live?
First Bais Din time. So because of that we have the Chacham instituted a fast day called Same Gedalia. Now some opinions in halacha say he really was killed on Rosh Hashanah. But we push it off for after Rosh Hashanah. Therefore in many aspects of halacha, we have a leniency with Tzem Gedalia about people fasting at Tzem Gedalia that I'll mention in a second. Other people say he was killed on the 3rd day of Tishrei. But this year, the 3rd day of Tishrei is Shabbos. So you can't fast on Shabbos anyway. So the fast is pushed up another day to Sunday. So instead of fasting Gimel Tishrei, we fast Tzem Gedalia Dalet Tishrei. So now you have a very interesting halachic shaila that Pos can talk about. What happens if by fasting on Tzem Gedalia, it's in 1 week, for some people it's difficult to fast. So what happens is by fasting Tzem Gedalia, you're not going to be able to fast Yom Kippur. So what do? Now obviously Yom Kippur is much stricter fast than Tzem Gedalia. So some people say, listen, Tzem Gedalia is rabbinic and is pushed off, and Yom Kippur is biblical, so if it's one of the two, you pick Yom Kippur, you have to fast Yom Kippur. Other opinions say no. Other opinions say, listen, right now it's Tzem Gedalia, right? You're able to fast, you have to fast. A week later, we'll worry about that later. But right now you're able to fast, you should have to fast. So what's the halacha? It's a machlekes in halacha. So the halacha is that if you're going to have a problem fasting Yom Kippur, you don't fast Tzem Gedalia. But otherwise, a person's supposed to fast Tzem Gedalia. It's like a regular fast. You have sliches in the middle of davening, not before davening. You have sliches in the middle of davening, and you have Avinu Malkeinu, you have Torah reading, and you have Mincha, Torah reading at Mincha with Haftarah, and all that stuff.
12 hours fast, not 24.
No, it's a 12-hour fast. By the way, today it's interesting. We're talking about many the hours of the fast. This morning, sunrise was 6:43. No, 6:40. It was very interesting. Today's day is 12 hours and 2 minutes. Exactly. Sunrise was 6:45, and Shkia today was 6:42. So it's exactly 12-hour day minus 3 minutes. So you're looking how long the hours are at 60 minutes, or 60 point something. It's interesting because now in Tishrei and Nisan, the days are usually equal 12-hour days and 12-hour nights, taking a few minutes off. Okay, now many people have a minhag that they say slichas during Aseret Yemei Tshuva. In Chabad, we only say slichas Tzem Gedalia as a regular fast day. We don't say slichas during Aseret Yemei Tshuva. During Aseret Yemei Tshuva, you have all the tefillas, just quickly, you have all the tefillas of adding the Aseret Yemei Tshuva. So before Baruch Hu, you have Shir Amalis Mimamakim, that you say. You have in the Amida we learned to say Zochreinu l'chaim michamecha Melech HaKadosh Melech HaMishpat Uchsev l'chaim tevim V'seif l'chaim tevim and Eisa HaSholim b'mei. These are all things that we say Aseret Yemei Tshuva. In addition to that, Shachris and Mincha Aseret Yemei Tshuva, we say the long Avinu Malkeinu. Instead of the short Avinu Malkeinu, we say the long Avinu Malkeinu. So that's it. But if it's a day that there's no Tachnun, then our custom is, the Rebbe made a Chiddush in Tavshin Lamed Hey, the Rebbe made a big Chiddush that according to the Alter Rebbe, when you don't say Tachnun, you don't say Avinu Malkeinu, you don't say Keler Chapayim. Okay, the Rebbe equated Tachnun with Avinu Malkeinu. Anytime you don't say Tachnun, you don't say Avinu Malkeinu. So therefore, Erev Yom Kippur, we don't say Tachnun, we don't say Avinu Malkeinu. In halacha it says, some opinions say, that if Yom Kippur is Shabbos, then Erev Shabbos you do say Avinu Malkeinu. But the pill, if there's no Tachnun, there's no Avinu Malkeinu. Okay, to be continued.